So we're switching gears in this video to adding and subtracting with rational expressions. These are a little bit more complicated than multiplying and dividing, because if you remember properly from back in the day, multiplying fractions is a lot easier than adding and subtracting them, because when you add and subtract you must have a common denominator. Not the case with multiplying and dividing. So we have three quick warm-up problems. The first thing you need to remember is when we are combining like terms with a 2 in front, a -4 in front, a 2x in front, you're going to need to distribute first. So this is going to become 2x plus 6. And now we're going to distribute our -4, so this becomes a -4x minus 8. And then we're going to distribute the 2x, so this becomes plus 2x squared minus 8x. And once you distribute everything, now you're ready to write in descending order. So we're going to go start at our highest, which is our 2x squared for that guy. And now we're going to look at our x's. We have 2x, a -4x, and a -8x. So that's going to give us -10x. And then finally we finish with our constants. 6 and a -8 is going to give us a -2. And you are done. That's just simplifying right there. We did not ask you to go back and factor now. That's a later step. But for now, if you can combine like terms and distribute, that's a pretty essential skill. Now, more review questions before we get started. When you add or subtract, remember you must have a common denominator. So if you think about your common denominator of 3 and 2, our least common denominator we would say for this is 6. So that means you would need to multiply this fraction, top and bottom, by 3, and the top and bottom of this fraction by 2, and that would give you 2 over 6 plus 9 over 6, and then we can just say that that is 11 over 6, which you are done with that example. In the next problem as well, you would need your common denominator. So our least common denominator for 3 and 4 is going to be, think about it, 12. So to turn a 4 into a 12, you would need to multiply the top and bottom by 3. To turn a 3 into a 12, you would need to multiply the top and bottom by 4. That would give you 4x over 12 plus 6x over 12, which would give us 10x over 12, which can be simplified to 5x over 6. So as you can see, even way back in the day, you would still reduce fractions, just like what we've been doing with the examples from yesterday. Now the fun part is we're going to, of course, make them a little bit more challenging. So my suggestion to you is to write down your least common denominator just like I was in the examples above. So I want to talk really quick about, you can't just add a 2 to this and get your 4. This is a term all by himself. This is a 4, and this is an x plus 2. So your LCD for this example is going to be 4 times x plus 2. In any of the examples above, I'll back up for just a second, we didn't say, oh, we can just add 1 to this 2 to make it a 3. We didn't say we can add 1 to this 3 to make it a 4. We had to find a multiplication that was going to make it the same. So again, you can't just say, oh, let's add 2 to the second one and add an x to the first one, and then we'd have x plus 4s. Not the case. It's multiplying. So your LCD is 4 times x plus 2. Once you know what it is, you're good to go. So this denominator here needs to be multiplied by 4. So of course we multiply the top and bottom by a 4. This 4 needs to be multiplied by an x plus 2, so we're going to multiply the top and bottom by the x plus 2. So now our denominator is set. Our denominator is going to be 4 times x plus 2. Now you just need to work with the numerator. So we're going to have to FOIL this. X plus 2 times x is going to be x squared plus 2x. And then 3 times 4 is 12, and since this is plus, we're just going to write a plus 12. And then you would check to see if it can be factored. I can't think of anything that multiplies to 12 and adds to 2. I'm sure you can't either. So this is just going to be x squared plus 2x plus 12, and that's it. You are done. So the top is just combining like terms and distributing. The bottom, once you have your LCD, it's already done. You have nothing else that you need to do. Okay? So this next example is going to require a little factoring step first. So our top is still good. It's 4x. But our denominator is x plus 2 and x minus 2, because you have to factor using the difference of two squares. Minus 3 over, and we have our x plus 2. So you can see right away that our LCD for this problem is going to be x plus 2 times x minus 2. So the first fraction is good. The only thing we need to do for the second fraction is multiply the top and bottom by the LCD, or to make it x minus 2 and x minus 2. So now the fraction on the right has the common denominator. So you would distribute, so this is going to be 4x, keep this in mind, minus 3 times x minus 2. We just got done with that. We need to distribute a negative 3. So this is 4x minus 3x plus 6. Combine your like terms, and we have x plus 6 all over our common denominator of x plus 2 and x minus 2. So this is done. Okay? As you can see, there are quite a few steps. You just need to be careful, and really isn't that big of a deal if you just take your time and make sure you have a common denominator, and make sure you distribute when you multiply on the top. So I'll take you through one more example here on the top. This one's a little bit trickier. If you imagine this is a 6, here's a 6, and here's an x all by himself. That's not, we can't just subtract the 2 from that x to make it an x minus 2. Remember, again, it needs to be multiplied. So your LCD for this problem is 6 times x times an x minus 2. So this left fraction only needs an x multiplied to the top and the bottom. And this fraction on the right needs the x minus 2 multiplied to the top and the bottom. So you're going to need to wrap that second, the x plus 3, in parentheses, and you're going to have to FOIL the top now. But remember, your denominator is finished. So we know this is going to be 6x times x minus 2. Now we just need to simplify the top. So 7 times x, we have our 7x. And then this is minus, and we're going to wrap them in parentheses for a second. You're going to need to FOIL this. So when you FOIL x plus 3 and an x minus 2, that's going to give you an x squared plus x minus 6. So once you subtract or distribute your negative, that's going to be 7x minus x squared minus x plus 6. Right in descending order, of course, so you have a negative x squared plus 6x plus 6, and you are now finished with this example. So as you can see, adding and subtracting is just a little bit more difficult, but once you get your common denominator, it's just old school distributing, combining like terms. So here are 2 examples for you to try. Pause the video, give them a shot, we'll see how you do. So if you have 4x squared plus 13x plus 3 over x plus 8 times x plus 4, you are almost correct. The only difference is this guy right here can be factored. So this right here should be your final answer. And to do that, you just had to get your LCD of an x plus 8 and an x plus 4 after you factored this guy right here. This top left couldn't be factored, so you didn't need to try it anyway, especially since we're adding. You'd have to FOIL it back to combine like terms anyway. So that one right there should have been a piece of cake. This last one here, I'm going to help you out with this guy, because you're going to have 3 different components to your common denominator. You're going to have an x plus 1, a 2x minus 3, and an x. So we're going to skip all the way down to the bottom and let you know that your denominator is going to be x times x plus 1 times 2x minus 3. That means each one of these fractions is going to need to be multiplied by 2 terms. So this 4x is going to need an x, and it's going to need a 2x minus 3. And then the middle one is going to need to be multiplied by an x plus 1 and an x. And then your last one is going to need to be multiplied by an x plus 1 and a 2x minus 3. Now, it's not that this is difficult, it's just that it's extra work. And again, if you have good multiplying and combining like terms skills, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. So, for that top, you are going to need to multiply 4 times x, or 4x times x times 2x minus 3. The middle is plus 5 times x plus 1. And then for our last term, we have minus 4 times x plus 1 times 2x minus 3. So you're going to have to distribute, FOIL, combine like terms, all sorts of fun stuff here. So you're just going to have to do it. 4x times x is 4x squared. Distribute 4x squared to the 2x minus 3. And that's going to give you 8x cubed minus 12x squared. Now you're going to have to multiply the 5 and the x to give you a 5x, and 5x times x is 5x squared, and 5x times 1 is 5x. So that's going to give you plus 5x squared plus 5x. And now you're going to have to first FOIL these two. That'll give you a 2x squared minus x minus 3. And then you're going to have to multiply that by a negative 4. And that's going to give you a minus 8x squared plus 4x plus 12. And now you're going to combine all of those like terms, and you're going to have 8x cubed minus 15x squared plus 9x plus 12. And you are now good to go for that problem. Again, yes, it's bigger, it's longer, it's just multiplying and combining like terms, though. It's just there's more of it. Okay? So, I have two fun problems here. Don't worry about that bottom left one. He's not really that scary. He's actually pretty simple when you break it down into 3 separate questions. Now, the first one's got a happy face because something fun's going to happen at the end. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to still do our same thing. This is going to be an x plus 2 and an x plus 3. So when we have our x plus 2 and x plus 3, we're going to have to multiply this guy by an x plus 3 on the top and bottom. And we're going to have to distribute. So we're going to have our x squared and our plus 4x plus 3 minus 7x minus 13 after we distribute that on the top. And that's going to simplify to x squared minus 3x minus 10 all over our x plus 2 and x plus 3. But the fun part is the top can be factored to x minus 5 and x plus 2. So this is our x plus 2 and our x plus 3. So we go back a day and we cancel those guys out, and we have our x minus 5 over x plus 3. And that's it for that one. One last problem. Again, he's not nearly as scary as he looks. So again, this question is much easier than what it looks. If you break this down into 3 pieces, you have your top and your bottom. We're going to make this into 3 separate questions. So the top is already done, actually. Your top is 2 over x plus 2, and there's nothing else that's going to happen right now for your top. But you must simplify your bottom. So the bottom is 1 over x plus 2 over x. You need a common denominator, so this needs to be multiplied by an x plus 2. And this needs to be multiplied by an x. So that's going to give you x plus 2x plus 4 all over your x times x plus 2, which can simplify. So your bottom is going to be 3x plus 4 over x times x plus 2. So again, the first 2 steps are pretty simple. Now, all you have to do is take the top and multiply it by the reciprocal of the bottom. And you're done. So we have 2 over x plus 2 times x plus 2 over 3x plus 4. And we're going to cancel our x plus 2's. And you just finish with 2x over 3x plus 4. And that's it. So again, if you take that big nasty thing and separate it into 3 little problems, it's a piece of cake. This is Longo and I'm out. See you, bye.